Welcome to another conversation with the candidates. My name is Kevin Tachi, and I will be here for this particular conversation. As you know, right around the corner, it is time for the annual town elections coming up on May 20th. I think usually the third Saturday in May. And we're taking our time to chat with some of the folks who are going to be on the ballot. You'll have a chance to see them in and around the community. We're actually out and about. As you can see, we're in the palatial town park, Whitman Town Park. Today joining me, he is a candidate for re-election for the Board of Selectmen. We have Dr. Carl Kowalski.
Hi, Kevin.
Hi, Carl. How are you?
Good.
For folks who may or may not know who you are, and again, folks come, folks go, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Ooh, a little bit about myself.
Just a little bit.
Okay. I've been involved in town politics for a long time. I moved to Whitman in 1972, so I've been here for over 50 years.
But you're not a townie.
But no, I've been reminded of that a number of times, that I'm not a townie. However, there's a street in Whitman called Dyer Avenue, and at the end of Dyer Avenue is a house where an aunt and uncle of mine lived, Bert and Annie Dyer. Annie was my grandmother's sister, and Bert was the fire chief in Whitman way back in the 20s. Dyer Avenue Dyer is a famous name, we know, because allegedly it's the first non-Native American person born in this district was someone named Dyer. So I learned that because my first political, not appointment, but a political job in Whitman was I joined the Historical Commission back in 1983, I think it was, and I was there for a while. And there was a man by the name of Russell Gardner who was, he's no longer with us, but he was part Wampanoag Indian and part descendant of the Mayflower. He had both of those sides. And he was a wealth of knowledge about this particular area. He's the one I learned, from whom I learned that Paul Revere learned how to cast bells here. Think about that for a minute. You know, so it's not only the Toll House cookie, but it's also, there's a Paul Revere connection to Whitman. Well, anyway, I had this connection to Whitman for a long time. I came here in '72 because of a pleasant happening. My wife and I had a baby, and I needed to get work. I was a grad assistant in English at Lehigh University working on a doctorate, and I worked part-time as an instructor. But I needed to do better than that because my wife wasn't able to work. She's a nurse. And so I was looking for a job, and I luckily got one at Massasoit Community College in Brockton. And in the fall of 1972, I started work there. Worked there ever since. And although I retired in 2009, but I've worked there. I teach part-time there now. Worked there ever since, and I've lived in Whitman since '72. It's been a long time. I love this town, and I feel tied to it, even though I'm not a townie.
Hey, for folks who don't know, you've served on the school committee, and you have served how many terms as a selectman?
Oh, geez, I started in 2000 or 2002. 21 years. I've served 21 years. I was 14 years on the school committee, took a few years off, and then started working as a selectman. So it's been a long time.
For folks who don't know, what is the role of the selectmen?
Yeah, the selectmen are the people who set policy for the town and to try to ensure for the citizens and taxpayers that the town is well managed. We don't manage the town, but we manage the managers and do the best we can.
Right. Is there an issue or set of issues that are at the center of this year's annual election?
Issues related to the election.
Yeah, and not necessarily that issues amongst the candidates, but just that that are prevalent in the community, that the community is working on.
Oh, sure. There are things that we're working on. We need to replace the DPW building. We needed to replace it for an awfully long time. And there's an issue on the town meeting warrant that deals with that. That's probably close to the number one issue I would think that needs to get done. There's the constant tug of war with the town of Hanson and the regional school district as far as how much money we can afford to give to the schools. Whitman has always done whatever it can to support the schools. I'm proud of that, actually. We have been a community that cares about the kids. As a matter of fact, in 2019, we, in preparation for creating a 5-year strategic plan, we did a survey of the citizens. And it became clear when you read the survey that what our citizens value are education of their children, public safety, and public works. Those are the 3 top things that they are perfectly willing to spend their tax money on.
Let's talk a little bit about the budget and how the numbers are looking for fiscal 24. What has the process been like this year? Talk us through it. And again, by the time folks get a chance to see this up until the election, a lot will be decided. But I want to get your kind of take on what the process has been like and what the numbers have been looking like as you put together the budget for the fiscal year that starts as of July 1st.
Well, I think the main contentions have been around how we fund the schools, how much we fund the schools. Right. We have been, since we came up with a strategic plan that stretches from 22 to 27, we have, and because of a committee that our selectmen created about 3 years ago to look at our fiscal policies, and it created what's been called the Madden Report. He was a consultant that worked with us. It's been, we have decided that we can afford a 5% each year increase in the assessment to the schools. That's what we can do. And that won't kill the rest of the services in the town if we do that. The schools know that. They have known that for a long time, but this year when we were speaking to the schools, to the district about it, they came up with a over 5% request. And so we've gone back and forth on that, and we have settled, at least we settled a couple of weeks ago, on a little over 5% for the schools. And we're bringing that to the town meeting, and with that, the town meeting is going to be presented with a balanced budget.
I think what you alluded to in regards to the Madden Report is the assembling of a strategic plan, long-term plan, and discussions about a capital plan. How do you feel that's going with the strategic plan, and do you feel that there are growing pains, or do you feel that this is a fluid situation that is always changing, that you're tweaking as you need to?
No, I think it's changing as we need to, and the strategic plan can't be untweakable. It's basically it's a forecast over 5 years, and I think it was a good exercise that the town needed to do. It was encouraged by a citizen who became a selectman, Sean Kane. He was at a number of our meetings before he became a selectman, saying, where's the strategic plan? When are we going to get a strategic plan? Blah, 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 blah. I took to calling him Citizen Kane for a while because he reminded me of that. He reminded me of the Norman Rockwell, the series of paintings that they have of the people that show up at town meetings and advocate for things that they think are important. And Sean was relentless. And then he became a select person, and he's done a really good job with us, helping us through the process. Let's
talk capital projects. Do you feel, you mentioned it earlier on, there have been multiple attempts to replace the DPW building, not successfully. Do you feel that it's time to do something with this building and to treat this department to something new, seeing how the job that they do around the town during the Four Seasons?
They are really well appreciated by the citizens. If you drive from Whitman into Brockton, you notice a difference during the wintertime.
Absolutely.
As to our DPW,
Absolutely.
and I'm not knocking Brockton, but our guys do a great job.
Yeah.
Our people do a great job. They've been living in terrible conditions for a long time. It's got to be changed, and I think we're on our way to change it.
Let's talk a little bit about the middle school. What's your understanding as to what's going on with the middle school? Because this is also a project that is long overdue as well. I know this
all of this is going to be coming together within the next year or two, and it's going to mean it's going to put a strain on the town. But the middle school is a project that needs to be taken care of too. It's more expensive than the DPW, but I think we're going to be able to handle it.
One of the things that the selectmen discuss from time to time, and that is there enough space for commercial and industrial development? What's available? How do you lure these industries? Do you feel that there is enough space and that there's enough here to lure businesses to help generate additional revenue?
I think I don't have the answer to that. We know that we have Route 18 that runs through us. It's like a river running through us, and when you're driving it, it's an interesting project. If you try to go from here to either Bridgewater or to Weymouth or to Abington, I don't know if that's. I don't want to be disparaging to Route 18, but there's not a lot of space for growth. We know that we've allowed cannabis places. We gave out 3 licenses for cannabis, which is going to help us somewhat as far as revenue is concerned, and it's going to help us out somewhat medically too when you look at the medical advantages of cannabis. But no, Whitman is a tough sell.
Staying on the marijuana, recreational marijuana, and I understand that the way that licenses are given out is mirrored in accordance to like liquor licenses, that you can only do so many. If that was ever modified, and you can give out an additional recreational marijuana license or two, would you be in favor of something like that, or would that be something you'd want to openly talk about?
Well, I'd want to talk about it, and I'd like to have some history with the 3 places that we've already given the license to and see how they have worked out. Yeah.
Okay. Let's talk a little bit about businesses. How do you feel the Board of Selectmen works in conjunction with businesses? Do you feel that the Board of Selectmen does enough to support local business and give them all the tools they need to succeed in this community?
I think it does what it can. You know, when it comes to the tax rate for businesses, we have an equal tax rate with the real estate. It's not with personal households. We try not to. We don't overtax them. We don't overtax them. We do what we can.
Okay. We had talked a little bit about marijuana. Let's talk a little bit about the opioid epidemic. I don't know how much the Board of Selectmen can do, but knowing that, being kind of the pulse of the community, where do things stand, you feel, with the opioid epidemic? Do you feel that the local public safety is making inroads when it comes to the opioid epidemic, or you feel it's something that's really relevant in this community?
Well, no, I think our public safety people have been terrific as far as the opioid epidemic is concerned. It's still an epidemic. I mean, opioid is still ruining people's lives and taking people's lives. I've been going for a number of years to the opioid recognition vigil that's held in Brockton around Labor Day every year. And when it first started, there were like 20 to 30 photographs of people on the screen that had died of opioid overdoses. Last time I went, there were over 200, 240. I'm not sure of the exact number in my head right now, but it took a good half an hour to 40 minutes to see the faces of all of the people who have died in this area, not Whitman, but in this greater area of opioids. It's still a problem. Whitman is involved with Whitman Hanson Will, which is an organization that tries to direct people's attention to this issue. The school personnel, police personnel, fire personnel have all been super active with Whitman Hanson Will, and they had done a number of things to spread awareness and to show sympathy and empathy with the people that are struck with it. I'm really proud and really impressed with the job that they have done. The schools, the fire service, and the police in particular.
Okay. It seems in a lot of communities, and I don't know if it was because of COVID that we started seeing a lot of meetings that were recorded, meetings that you normally wouldn't see and are being shared, whether it's on social media, whether it's through a local cable studio. What's your thought on a push to have all meetings recorded, whether it's just audio or having a visual component added to it for folks to be able to know what's going on with some of the boards and committees in town?
Yeah, correct. There is a citizens petition that's on the warrant for the town meeting next week that speaks to that. I'm in total favor of it. The selectmen, of course, have been totally transparent and open with their meetings forever.
Oh, wow.
With live meetings. I think all public committees should be the same. You should let if it's really an open meeting, let it be an open meeting and give people an opportunity to at least hear it. But seeing it would be good too.
Let's talk about May 20th. If you are successful to be reelected to another term on May 20th, what would you like to accomplish with another 3 years, with another term?
Well, I'm really excited about Mary Beth Carter's elevation to town administrator. She's doing a terrific job so far. I'm going to be excited over the next 3 years of working with her. She's very good. She's a workaholic, and she's bright and affable, and she's just going to be great. I'm looking forward to our board working with her for 3 years. We'll have behind us after 3 years, hopefully, some decisions made about how we pay for the middle school and how we're doing with the DPW and how we can maintain the excellence that our schools have given us too. That's what I'd like to see have happened after 3 years, is that we maybe can hit a little bit of a calm stretch. It's not calm right now. It's not calm right now, and that's probably one of the reasons why I decided to run again after all of these years, to work with the Board of Selectmen to help with that. We have a good board now. I'd like, Dan Salvucci's in a class by himself, and Justin Evans is there with a lot of energy, to try to draw new things into the town. He pays a lot of attention to that. Sean Kane, as I mentioned before, has settled in quite well as a selectman, and he's always serious and always does his homework. And I really like the job that Randy LaMattina has done as chair. He's done a very good job during a difficult time, during difficult changes, and I'm looking forward to continuing working with him too.
Okay. So we're at that point of our conversation where I kind of give you an open-ended question, and that is where if there's something we haven't talked about, a topic we haven't discussed, something that may be relevant but we haven't had a chance to talk about, give you an opportunity to bring up what that topic is and kind of give your thoughts on it.
Wow.
It's like a blank check.
Like a blank check.
It's like a blank check.
You know, every morning I go to Regal Marketplace and buy the newspaper. I can't. I like reading a newspaper. I'm old-fashioned. I like reading a newspaper. We used to have it delivered, but the person that delivered it would leave the newspaper down at the end of the driveway, and that drove me nuts. So instead, I cancel it, and instead I decide to go to it myself and get the newspaper. While I'm in there, within the last couple of months while I was there, I was talked to by the people that worked there about the banning of nips, little alcohol nips. There's a citizen's petition to do that, to ban it. Why? Because they're left around, they become trash, and people throw them out of their car windows or whatever. And at first I thought that made sense. I changed my mind totally, that it doesn't make sense to ban the sale of alcohol in small doses. Why? Well, because the next town over, they sell it, so people will just drive there. Are they going to then nicely dump their nips out of the car window in Abington or in Rockland? No, they're not. They're going to come back to where they live, and it's still going to end up on the ground. I think what we need to do probably around this issue is to support a deposit, 5-cent deposit on them. And then people will pick them up and make some money and afford some more. We can't do it by ourselves. The state has to do it. But that's just one of the things that's just in the back of my mind about the town meeting, is this little nip thing.
I know that there have been ongoing or constant conversations to add nip bottles, but I think a lot of the manufacturers, a lot of the bottlers, are not a fan of that. They don't even like the whole idea of the deposit, and they just feel that. My understanding is that they'd like to see it go away, because if anything, it costs them more money than not, and so that's why there's
so manufacturers would like to see nips
the
go away?
bottlers and yeah. So the big companies that that put these out, the distillers. So that's my understanding, but I know it's something that has been discussed many times at the State House.
Yeah.
So
it probably won't go anywhere.
We'll see one day.
Yeah.
Folks want to reach out to you. They want to find out more about you. Is there an easy way to do that?
Is there a way they can do that?
Yeah. How can they reach out to you and say, Carl Kowalski, how are you? I want to talk to you. I want to know more about you.
Sure. Just call the selectman's office. That'll be fine.
Okay.
And they'll get in touch with me.
Excellent. Well, I want to thank you for your time.
Thank you.
You got it?
Thank you, Kevin.
And I want to thank you for tuning into a program like this, Conversations for the Candidates. The idea of these conversations is to make you better informed as to where the candidates are on a lot of the issues that affect the community. And if you're not sure as to where you are supposed to vote, need any information, early voting, any of that, contact the town clerk's office. And until our next conversation, have a good day.